Alright, people, so, a big story in the news lately has been this whole thing over the gorilla being shot to save the child. And, it's, any way you look at it, it's obviously a sad story on multiple fronts. Sad, I think we could all agree, let's kind of start off at the point we all agree on, that the parent who, allowed that little child to get in there is, obviously a negligent parent and should be punished in some form or another. Because I mean, if you let your fucking child inside of a gorilla pen or whatever the fuck it's called, I mean, that obviously is a very horrible fucking thing to do and should have reparations to pay for it. And I think, like I said, I think pretty much everybody universally agrees with that. Now the problem becomes, with the gorilla, were they correct in shooting the gorilla? I think they were, in my opinion. I don't think you have any other choice here. I mean, you got a very little child in the hands of fucking 500, 600, 700, I don't even know how many, a huge-ass gorilla. And you're just going to fucking... how are you going to get that fucking child out of there, it looked like the gorilla was protecting the child. A lot of people were saying that, the gorilla's protecting the child. Okay, even if the gorilla is protecting the child, I mean, it's a little fucking fragile child that it has. It could fucking still hurt the fucking kid and kill him. I mean, like I said, it's a fucking huge-ass gorilla with this little fucking child. And that presents great risks there. And the gorilla's not in its native land. I mean, there's a lot of people around. And if they chose to keep him alive, there would have been people trying to take the child from them, which could have led to more shit. I hear people saying, oh, tranquilize the gorilla. Obviously with a tranquilizer dart, it doesn't take effect right away, I'm pretty sure. So, I mean, that could have caused, more bad shit to happen, possibly. So, I mean, definitely the best option, in my opinion, was to just kill the gorilla. And I mean, we got to get something straight here. A human life is more precious, more important than an animal life. I mean, it just boggles my mind how people only seem to care about an animal if it's big, or if it's cute, or if it's fluffy. There's fucking bugs that we step on the ground every fucking time we walk. I mean, you drive a fucking car and you hit bugs. I mean, people will fucking kill little bugs that are inside their houses. But then they'll fucking, go apeshit over a gorilla that's killed. I mean, it's still a fucking animal. Just because it's not as advanced, it's still a fucking life. I just don't get how people put more of a value on the life of... a fucking cuter animal, like a bunny, than they do on the life of a bug. Now, obviously, it's much easier to see like a bigger animal suffer. So I get where they're coming from there, but it's just, people have to realize that when you fucking, let's say there's a fly on your window and you fucking kill it, you're still fucking killing a fly. You're still killing an animal. It's the same fucking thing, in my opinion, pretty much. So, I mean, just like I said, just because that, the animal is more, it's bigger does not mean it's like a less important animal life, really. So, but like I said, this right here is definitely a sad situation on multiple fronts, but, I mean, you really had no choice. This was the safest option for the child. And if you tried something different, like I said, the alternative probably would have been to, like, tranquilize a gorilla, I guess. Like, I'm not an expert on the situation, but, I mean, that could have had its consequences as well. And like I said, the number one priority here is the child, to protect the child. And if you have it to kill a gorilla, to do that, I really don't have a problem with it. And I do believe that that's the safest way to fucking, you know, handle the situation, would just be to kill the gorilla so the gorilla could not harm the child in any way. And like I said, you got a fucking huge ass gorilla versus a very, you know, small child. And the gorilla probably was worked up, you know, could have been worked up by all the people, you know, going crazy, you know, all the workers trying to take the fucking child back from the gorilla. So, like I said, I think the most, you know, the best option is just to kill the gorilla, and it worked. That's the thing. It fucking worked. It worked. They got the child. You know, the child was not killed. So, you know, for people to fucking criticize this is beyond me. I mean, yes, a gorilla died, but I mean, that fucking pales into comparison to this child being harmed or killed. But like I said, the blame should be on the parents here, not, you know, not the decision to kill the gorilla. The blame should be on the parents, and you have to be safe. And you know, better safe than sorry in this instance here. You just gotta kill the gorilla, and the parents are the ones to blame. They should be the ones to blame. And also, I mean, that's a split-second decision. Whoever made that decision, it's a fucking split-second decision you have to make. You can't fucking take a day to ponder this decision. You have to fucking, you know, think about the life of the child first and foremost. You can't fucking think about the life of the animal. You have to think about the life of the child. So I think this was a good decision. And like I said, in that moment when you're thinking, you know, what's the way that's going to keep this, you know, child alive, you know, give this child the best chance to live, you have to think of that, not the life of the gorilla. Not say, oh, well, you know, maybe we could save the gorilla, but the child might have a little bit less chance of living. No, you cannot do that, and I think this was the safest decision to make here. And like I said, the blame should be on the parents. It should be on the parents, but it is a sad situation to see, you know, this all transpire. You know, probably, you know, pretty scary to see that happen there if you were actually at the zoo at the time that was going on, or at the gorilla exhibit. So, and I'm not a big fan of zoos, you know, side issue, you know, I'm not a fucking huge fan of zoos, you know. I get, you know, you see all the cool animals and shit, but most of them are fucking boring ass animals. You know, you just walk around and they're just fucking sitting there. It's like, I'd rather see an animal kind of in its natural environment than, you know, and I don't know how happy these animals are, you know, caged or, you know, locked up in this little area where they're not meant to be. You know, like, who knows if they're happy or not. I don't, but I don't know. It's just something that's never appealed to me, going to the zoo to see, to just look at animals. I hate people. That's one thing. I haven't really talked about this much on my channel, but I just hate big groups of people. I hate being around big groups of people. You know, I love it here in my room, just me, myself, and I. But I hate when I go, you know, to a place like the zoo. There's so many little kids around. It's just, it's gross. You know, I'm not a germaphobe or anything like that, but I'm just not a big fan of the fucking zoo. You know, would not mind if they fucking close that zoo. And like I said, you know, I'm not a big fan of, you know, I get some animals might, you know, not be able to go back to the wild because of health issues or whatever the fuck. But I mean, you can't tell me that every fucking animal in every fucking zoo around the world is, you know, because of the, you know, their health or their rescue animals. I mean, I don't really buy that. And you know, I'm not a big fan, again, of taking an animal from its wild environment and fucking putting it in a cage. You know, I got fish a few years back, and you know, they're probably fucking more. I'm thinking about it now, and they're in this little fucking tank, and I'm thinking they're probably more stressed out now than they, you know, were if they're just in the fucking wild. You know, so I'm not a big fan anymore of really caging up. I mean, you think about it when you're a little kid or you're younger, and you're like, oh yeah, it's cute to have a bunny, it's cute to have an animal, but you would think that these animals would be more happy in their natural environments as opposed to caged up in a little caged area for their whole lives too. I mean, it's like if I had to spend my whole fucking life in this fucking room, in my room here, like that would be a fucking shit ass life. That'd be a depressing life. I like to go around, be free. You know, wouldn't animals love to be free and just swim around in the lake or walk around in a forest as opposed to being confined in this little space? I don't know. I'm just bringing up that point because, I mean, it's an interesting point to make. So, but there you go, people. You know, that's kind of my thoughts on the whole gorilla situation. So there you go.